Yeah, Chloe, the reaction's coming in so fast that we can't even encapsulate
Look at the papers in
all
front
these
of me.
papers
These
on our
are
desk,
all tributes.
including the president of the United States. But you mentioned Miley Cyrus and their relationship. She's the goddaughter of Dolly Parton. We haven't heard yet from her, but she had kind of a mentoring, mothering relationship with a lot of people.
I mean, absolutely. Her relationship with Miley Cyrus was so close. Dolly Parton very close to her father, Billy Ray Cyrus, and really championing Miley as she crossed over from a child star on Hannah Montana to really launching her solo career in pop and country. If you haven't ever listened to Miley Cyrus's cover of Jolene, I highly recommend that you do because it is truly unbelievable. I mean, you have so many tributes. Henry Winkler, who I love, he just wrote, "What a sad day for America. What a sad day for the world. What a sad day for the Parton family. Dolly, we will miss you in more ways than one can say. You were a treasure on this earth." And you have Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, saying, "Dolly spent her whole life showing us what it means to lead with love." Lauren, his wife, and I are so grateful to have known her. She lifted everyone up with her music, her generosity, and her joy. I mean, there's just so many celebrities, too many to read right now. Jamie Lee Curtis, Kacey Musgraves, Reba McEntire, all talking about the impact that Dolly had on their lives and career.
Brian, she was so much larger than life. To say that she was an originalist feels like an understatement. How did she influence, to build on what Chloe just said, the entertainment world, the fashion world, just with her presence?
Right. You raise a good point, because she was kind of loud and different before it was cool. You know, she kind of set a new precedent for just being unequivocally, unapologetically flashy. And as the childhood version of herself says about this girl, the woman in her neighborhood was trashy. She owned it. She made it part of her brand. She made it part of the joke. But you can get away with that when you're Dolly Parton and have the level of talent, because once she opened her mouth and these songs came out of her, they were touching, and all of the glitz and the glam kind of melts away, and you're left with a song like "I Will Always Love You" or Jolene or "Coat of Many Colors." What you were really seeing was her heart, and that's what shined through in the things that she did charitably, in the conversations that she had, in the way that she connected with people. So it's easy to see at first glance when she walks in the room that there's an incredibly big personality walking into the room, but what you're left with is an incredible connection and a moving experience through her music.
Do you want to pick up on that?
I have to just say, and Brian said it so well, she was no dumb blonde. This was a woman that is the epitome of do not judge a book by its cover. Dolly Parton was so much more than just an incredible songwriter and music artist, which, by the way, we could stop right there and that would be more than a life well lived. But to look at what she did at a time when women were not doing things like Dolly World and starting foundations and all of the charitable things that she has done while somehow remaining pretty apolitical, a devout Christian, but also supporting the LGBTQ plus community. This is a woman that, to be honest, I grew up in the South. I've lived here in the Northeast for 20 years. I've really never heard anybody utter anything bad about Dolly Parton. I think she was somebody that unified both sides of the aisle. And that's why you see someone like President Donald Trump saying that he wants the flags at half-mast for a week. That is just not something that you see, even with some of the greatest legends that we've seen both on screen and in music.
Brian, she did live this outwardly public life, you know, so flamboyant in public as a performer, but incredibly private about her personal life, except when she wanted to do an interview or speak about it, she sort of controlled that messaging. Do you think that added to the mystique?
I think there is obviously the question was, is she wearing the big wigs and the big glitzy outfits at home? What does she wear? What does she look like when she wakes up in the morning? People want to know that sort of thing. And people have tried to get a little bit of an answer from Dolly about what Dolly behind closed doors looks like. And she has said that she's gone out in places in disguise, and for her, disguise is being low key, maybe being less flashy. But that was, I think, part of the beauty. There are very few celebrities now, thanks to social media, that really keep much guarded. I think the more beautiful aspect of her guarded life was her relationship with her husband. That seemed to be the one thing that was kind of sacred and precious, and that she wasn't willing to give. She gave just enough. And what she gave us was that she had an incredible love for Carl. And by all accounts, she was devastated at his loss. But to your point, getting getting what we got from Dolly, I think we were all able to understand that she had to keep a little bit for herself. And that private life, we were willing to make that sacrifice because she gave so much else in every other aspect of her life.
Chloe, one other thing strikes me. When I mention celebrity names to my children who are in their 20s, a lot of them, they have no idea who I'm talking about. If it's someone who got popular in the 70s or the 80s, Dolly Parton crosses every generation, I think.
It's like
from
Michael
the
Jackson
oldest to the youngest, everybody knows.
I mean, when we're in the car, whether it's my kids asking me to play Thriller or this techno version of Jolene that we love, all of the Dolly Parton remixes, and Diana Ross too. I mean, she is someone that just transcends time, right? And it's somebody that when you hear her music, it doesn't feel dated. It feels like a classic. And that is what's so special about her, is that Dolly wasn't just singing words that other people wrote for her. To Brian's point, she wrote these songs, and many of them inspired by her incredibly humble beginnings. I mean, just go take a listen to The Coat of Many Colors today. I mean, just the empathy in her voice, and that voice. Can we just talk about that iconic voice?
Brian, we have like 30 seconds. Just one last thought from you.
Well, I just have to say, this is a woman who could have retired decades ago, but she was doing what she loved. She loved sharing her gift with the world, and we're so grateful to have gotten it. And when she sang, I Will Always Love You, the feeling is mutual.
Aren't we all lucky? Brian Balthazar, Chloe Melas, thank you so much.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.